Every great mystery begins with a promise, not spoken out loud, not written on the screen, but silently agreed upon between the storyteller and the audience. The storyteller says, "Trust me, none of this is random. It may not make sense today, but one day it will." And the audience obliges, and with every strange scene, every cryptic conversation, every impossible event, the story borrows a little more of our attention, a little more of our trust. But there comes a point where every mystery reaches an invisible tipping point, a moment where viewers stop asking, "What's happening?" and begin feeling, "Wait, this had better be going somewhere." For from that moment may have already arrived, and history gives us a reason to be nervous, not because it resembles Game of Thrones in its characters or world, but because both shows risk facing the exact same problem, a story that kept expanding, only to discover that time had quietly run out. Most television creates suspense. Mystery television creates debt. Every unanswered question is essentially a loan the writers take from the audience. Every episode says, "We'll explain this later." Viewers accept the loan because they believe it'll eventually be repaid with interest. The bigger the mystery, the bigger the eventual payoff must feel. That's why audiences tolerate confusion for years. Confusion isn't the problem. Unreturned investment is. The danger isn't having unanswered questions. The danger is accumulating so many of them that you now need to cook up some cheap, "Well, see this one piece of information. That's the answer to all 112 mysteries. Now go on." And Fromm has accumulated a staggering amount of narrative debt. 4 seasons, that's 4 friggin' years, so let's put some things into perspective. When the series started, what were our biggest questions? Why does the town exist? Who built it? What chooses who arrives? Can anyone truly leave? Why are the monsters dressed like people from another era? What exactly gives the talismans their power? Who made them? Why do the faraway trees work? Who created the tunnels? Who or what is the boy in white? What is the significance of the lighthouse, etc.? Now after 4 years, how many of these questions have been answered? Don't bother checking, it's zilch, nada, nothing, but don't worry, the writers haven't left us empty-handed. They've simply replaced our old questions with brand new ones like, what is controlling the weather? What was the music box? The cicadas, the kimono woman, the bottle trees, the giant doll-like people, the lake. These aren't minor details anymore. They are some of the biggest mysteries the show has introduced, and that's where many viewers feel Fromm may have stumbled during seasons 3 and 4. Instead of gradually uncovering the rules governing the town, the story often introduced entirely new layers. Each revelation wasn't necessarily an answer. It became another question, a larger mystery replacing a smaller one. That certainly keeps people theorizing, but it also delays understanding. 4 seasons later, many viewers feel they understand surprisingly little more about the town than they did near the beginning. The mythology has grown. The clarity hasn't always grown alongside it. Take Julie's apparent story walking. A similar parallel can be drawn with Bran's ability to see through time in Game of Thrones. Those abilities weren't just there to look mysterious. They were used to reveal major plot points like Jon's true parentage, the Night King's origin, and Hodor's heartbreaking backstory. Personally, The Door is still my favorite episode of The Thrones. Coming back to From, Julie's story walking has enormous potential, yet after an entire season, we're still not sure why it exists or what it has actually revealed about the town itself. If it ultimately becomes the mechanism that explains the town and ties together the larger mystery, then it'll be a brilliant addition. But the way it has been used so far, it feels more like a setup than a payoff. It has generated theories. It has created emotional moments. It has hinted at something much bigger. But it hasn't significantly advanced our understanding of the place or the rules governing it. If the final season doesn't fully capitalize on it, it risks feeling disconnected from the larger narrative. Similarly, Fatima's storyline comprising of the Golem arc has occupied a significant portion of the narrative. It has consumed an enormous amount of emotional attention. But last we saw, it was abandoned as abruptly as it was introduced. Is it the show's version of Marvel's post-credit messages such as, "Golem will return in Season 5. Needless to say, some genuinely important reveals may have slipped past us, buried beneath a pile of episodic arcs. But can you really blame viewers for not knowing which moments were clues and which were simply detours? Are we to focus on the lake or the dolls, Ethan's comics or Jade's research board? The fact that Sophia can poison the minds of people through her blood, or that she can reanimate the dead somehow. So coming back to my initial concern, the brutality of runtime versus story development, it stems from the fact that Fromm has been telling the story in a certain way, like the tea you take in a somewhat lonely street-side cafe, introspecting about life. That cannot be ended with a McDonald's vibe, which is in no way less than the former but a completely different feel, without going into details. Let me say that the recently concluded series The Bear did it perfectly, whereas fan favorite Game of Thrones allegedly botched it. So, again, it's not about whether From can resolve all the mysteries in the final season, but can it do it in a way that doesn't feel disconnected from the overall narrative style of the show? If not, then why so many arcs and mysteries were left for the last season? Why didn't some of the previous seasons carry their own weight in terms of meaningful revelations rather than creating new secondary mysteries? But no news is good news. As long as the final season is not released, we can be hopeful. And adding to the hope was a recent Reddit AMA done by the showrunners. So to answer some of the burning questions and fans' curiosities, showrunner Jeff Pinkner and John Griffin recently did a Reddit AMA. Let's look at some of the answers they provided. Bezius28 asks about the possibility of the show having a fixed plot from the very beginning, to which the showrunner replied that making the show is basically like planning a trip. You can pause and read the full thing. Mashiro Kyuhaku asks about the aging of Boy in White, to which they give a reasonable explanation. This reply, where they admit Jade was originally conceived as a teenage girl on her way back home from spring break, sounds particularly amusing. Maybe someone can AI video this. I'll say that the overall vibe of the AMA with regard to the show's future was mostly good. They acknowledge the contract with the audience and are confident to create a final season that is ought to give the show a well-deserved send-off. Maybe From ends the right way, and this video ends up being nothing more than a panic-induced rant of a crazy fan. I'll take that deal in a heartbeat. For now, I wait with anticipation and the Fromelier dread. Did I go too overboard with the doubts and negativity? Do you think From has enough time to pull it off? Or do you think we're heading toward another Game of Thrones situation? I'd love to read your thoughts in the comments. Also, please like, share, and subscribe with another From fan. It will encourage me to make more of similar videos. Alright, bye now.